Adin Ross has been unbanned. I know a lot of you guys have been demanding my take on this, and I don't really have a take on it, honestly. I don't know what the Twitch was thinking. I hope that he doesn't violate the terms of service in the most egregious ways that he had been if he was on Twitch for the past 2 years. Wait, did they reban him again? No. They rebanned him already? I don't think that's the case. There's a Adin Ross cousin account with 281,000 followers, but I don't think he's banned. I'm in a unique predicament here because, like, obviously deplatforming, aggressively people have come after me to try to deplatform me. Having said that, there are understandable enforcement decisions that platforms need to take. If you're constantly having Nazis on your platform, that's like not just clown behavior. That's something that, like, obviously no one wants to have on their platform with the exception of Kick. Okay? And considering that he was still doing that trolling up until recently, I don't think that he is, like, genuinely changed. I love a positive story. I love a story about someone who goes, you know what? I f***ed up. I'm reformed. It's going to take a long time for someone like myself. Not that it matters, clearly. It's not like Twitch comes to me with these decisions, you know? But at a time when the right-wing media landscape is so dominant everywhere, and we have incredibly right-wing content creators in general popping off on Twitch to begin with, the very fact that Twitch is making this decision is a statement in and of itself. I love reform. I love a story of reform. I tried to stop Adin Ross from going down this incredibly right-wing rabbit hole that he went down to the best of my ability. But post Andrew Tate, it was over. It was never happening. But I mean, he's done virtually every bad decision you can take. He's done all of that. I mean, he recently had Andrew Tate on he paid him money to be on his platform on Kick. And I mean, he's done a metric ton of awful shit. And there's not really much I can say or do about this process. I would want, I hope that he is more limited. I hope that he is limited in what he can and can't say now that he's on Twitch. Maybe that's the silver lining. Maybe I'm just, like, desperately looking for a silver lining here because I just can't comprehend why a company that ostensibly cared about what kind of content is allowed on the platform would make a decision like this. He's probably going to do safe streams on Twitch and be edgy on Kick. Yeah, but even then, that just... Do you not think this was going to happen? You act like there isn't a rightward shift. No, I see that. No, I do see that. Look, people will say, Hasan, you're biased. Hasan, you're woke. Hasan, you're gay. Whatever the okay? I just don't want other content creators to get destroyed by this kind of toxic behavior. Okay? That's it. Like, even beyond the Adolf Hitler associations, okay? I think outside of, like, being woke, there's an environment of toxicity associated with these guys that are like serial harassers, serial doxers, incredibly toxic. And it completely rips apart the remaining semblance of community that Twitch has had as opposed to other platforms like YouTube. The Adin Ross community was huge, but has also changed as people like the FaZe Boys have grown, as they all came from the same community, but they have different viewers and stances now. It's whether Adin wants to entertain a Jason viewer or just edgy. Yeah, that's what I worry about, though, because it's so alluring to be edgy because it's like the most like bottom of the barrel content. It's so hacky. You have two directions that you can go in. You can be a positive force and try not to be like as racist as you once were, or you can just be unshackled and unrestricted and be as racist as possible. Like there's different directions you can go towards. And I fear that a lot of, especially young content creators, are very malleable, and they'll see the growth and they'll lean into that. They'll lean into that easy content, easy slop, you know? Because every time you go and collab with any of them, most of their chat hates you. I don't even think that's true. That's not true either. How? They don't push their views onto their viewers? What do you mean? Their viewers have these views. Why do we not just on these people like 100 at 100 at all times? I don't get the streamer universe where everyone is kind of charitable to each other. The stakes are so low no matter what. Because we're powerless, dumb. Do you not see this? Do you not understand? That's why it's laughable when other content creators will be like, Hasan controls Twitch. He controls Twitch. He dominates Twitch. Twitch runs on his opinions. Like, clearly not. Okay. Like, I think that there was a time and place when people would just be like, okay, if you're espousing neo-Nazi views, if you're espousing like Holocaust revisionism, you're done. You're out. And it was good. It was a good moment while it lasted. I think that's a pretty decent standard to set. Okay. But then even beyond that, I think that there is a big disagree. There's a big difference in not having a say on whether or not he's on ban and openly saying, I don't know, maybe he changed good luck. Yeah, I think these are people that just don't want the endless torrent of hate coming their way. Doxing, swatting, like that. Because let's be real. Adin Ross entertained that for years. He actually, he literally, he hyped it up. He loved that shit, 100%. And he got rewarded for it. And he never actually turned around and said, yeah, maybe this is not the way to go. Hasan, I like your mansion. Thanks, man. Adin Ross literally said he would give $1 million in cryptocurrency to anyone who finds dirt on me. That's the type of shit he was doing. And that was not that long. It was a couple months ago. And that was because he was mad at me for recognizing that he was violating FEC laws on a stream that was viewed by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, where in broad daylight, he offered Donald Trump a watch that was infinitely higher than the individual campaign contribution that you can engage with. Like, that was him doing that. Me calling that out is not the reason why the FEC saw it. The FEC saw it because you did it on your stream. Yeah, it wasn't even dirt. He didn't even offer $1 million in cryptocurrency, which is to begin with. He said it for someone who could find dirt on me being a sex criminal. He was begging to God. Here it is.
Oh my God, Hasan, I cannot wait for that. Bro, I'm
like, this is insane, dude. This is insane behavior.
Yo, I'm praying to God your leaks this year. I will pay $1 million. Whoever finds this on him, $1 million. Swear to God, I locked.
I'm sorry, but I'll be honest with you. For every single content creator that sees this and still cozies up to Adin Ross, like, they're cowardly. Okay, that's it. And this is everybody. Okay, everybody. Yeah. Hasan, what's your address, Poppy? I'm horny and submissive. Okay, man. Like, we've already started, it seems. Like, holy shit. Everyone sees him as like a pioneer in the space. Everyone sees him as a big content creator that they like to be around. They don't think about what, other content creators face in the process of like allowing this kind of torrent of hatred. Why does he hate you when you've been exceptionally charitable and inviting to him? Because hating me is a symbol that you're on the not woke side. That's what it is. Yeah. So I feel like this type of behavior at a certain point was like checked by our social boundaries. It's really up.
I'm praying, bro. Alan, I know.
Yeah. The issue is the dudes say so much move on and repeat and doesn't get enough coverage. XQ goes, yeah, that's too edgy to racist. Asman and Adin says, and then spends 1 week talking about Hasan. Exactly. It's all of these other content creators that also, that are apolitical or whatever that also lean on that, where it's like, those are the dudes that like the XQs and the Asman goals of the world will be like, yeah, this is free speech. Yeah, based, or every now and then when they push it too far, we'll go, oh, that's too edgy. But then they move on. But then they spend a week and a half talking about like me saying cracker or something. You know what I mean? Like, that is the environment that we have all played a role in cultivating at this point. And it's not one that is nice. It's not one that's positive. It's not one that is nice. It's one that is so unimaginably toxic that it actually harms the very same Twitch streamers that like lean in on it and even recognize that it them over too, but they're too cowardly to put their face and name out there. They just want to be an asshole without any accountability whatsoever, and they think that this is a decent freedom, even if it like inevitably blows up in their own faces. Because like every streamer gets doxxed and swatted and have to deal with like psychos and stalkers and shit like that. But then when you turn around and like lean into a streamer that is pushing their fans to engage in this sort of behavior, you're basically saying like, no, this is permissible, this is allowed, this is good. So the problem is not just about political opinions and whatnot. Even though that in and of itself is like really up, you know. What is this in a clip? I don't know.
People are saying, sadly, people can change. You know what I mean? Hopefully, like he doesn't keep baiting, the white supremacists, everything like that. I think people can change. You know what I mean? I think he did stuff before. Hopefully he changes. If he doesn't, then I'm sure Twitch will deal with it. You know what I mean? But hopefully he does. I don't think that half the stuff he does, would be allowed on Twitch anyway. So, kind of is what it is. It's one of those things.
No, this is wrong, by the way. The assumption that like, is Twitch brain dead? Here's the least tame thing I could find. Here's the least tame thing I could find. You know how much more shit there is that journalists are going to write about? They're not going to do it. The media is completely, stopped reporting on this stuff. They don't give a shit. There aren't that many like right-wing trackers to begin with. But I mean, think about it. This isn't even about Adin Ross. What I'm talking about is not Adin Ross at all. This is a much larger problem within media right now, is that in the post-Trump second term universe, like how much stink is being brought up about people who are overtly anti-Israel being disappeared off the streets for no crime whatsoever. Like, there's a reason. There's very, very little motion on this. Yeah, Asmongold, when Adin Ross is unbanned, Twitch only cares about feedback and advertisers. Asmongold, when Hasan is unbanned, incoherently ramble. Okay,
they don't care about bans. They only care about feedback and advertisers. So if they can keep somebody unbanned and not lose advertisers, then they'll do it.
I mean, he's not wrong about this take, by the way. He is. He is right about this.
That's the only thing that matters. So yeah, that's it. My point is they have no consistency or principle. No, they don't. The only consistency or principle they have is doing whatever the public wants in a way that's beneficial for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, he's not incorrect about this assessment, and he's basically saying that like, Twitch makes this calculated decision to unban Adin Ross because they don't think that like no matter how toxic Adin Ross is, or no matter what he has done in the recent past, it's a different universe now. Like culturally, we're in the post-woke era where any expression of toxicity, any expression of right-wing sentiment, any expression of saying like woke people is not gonna, especially by institutions, is not going to cause a lot of harm.
So yeah.
Yeah, they're looking at the situation with Adin Ross and saying like, yeah, he's no longer as a scary of a person to have on the platform because it won't harm our bottom line, is the way they see it. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, guys, Donald Trump was on his broadcast. That's a legitimizing factor, you know? But didn't you bring on a guy that was a terrorist? Isn't that toxic? No, I did not. I did not bring on a guy that was a terrorist. You're stupid enough into thinking or believing that that person is a terrorist. He's not. Also, from this administration's perspective, I'm a terrorist. That's the entire point that we're having right now. The point of conversation is that, like, administrations have the capacity to change the way people view others. Yes, if you vandalize a Tesla, you're now considered a terrorist. The are you talking about? That doesn't mean anything. That response was pretty toxic. Yes, you're right. I should have said your faulty assumption that like a random Yemeni teenager is actually a terrorist is completely correct. I should go off of what you think. firebomb though. This is what I mean. Like dudes were in here previously subscribed for 5 months talking about how, oh my God, Hasan is so trash. I'm out. I mean, the guy is incredibly boring, has no riz, but I'm sure people want to make politics boring again. Like people are just legitimate. He's a terrorist though. Who? Did we already discuss the bank shooting? You're gonna have a hefty child support bill with the chat's mom. I'm so happy he at least got like coverage on the issue. Hopefully people start noticing more. Do not entertain that, please. What are you eating for dinner? Dude goes from like parasocial fan. Dude goes from parasocial fan rating my ad break segues into being like Islam is the greatest threat to America. You know, noticing that the turning point for this chatter. What is this? Jerusalem was separated, so a percentage of Jews and Palestinians were allowed to live there. I don't want a bad blood, dude. I've just been waiting to ask about the similarities of the Middle East conflict and the civil rights conflict that Black Americans have been dealing with for years. Unfollowed. It's their land, though. They were forced out originally. Yeah, this is a October 7 leaver who just came back. And even after a year, I'm a libertarian, but get considered a right wing, but both parties are crazy and corrupt as fuck. I wish we could fill Congress with millennials and we'd make way better decisions, law. They're so sad. Libertarian but pro-Israel is a weird dynamic. Libertarian Israel defender whose brain broke after October 7 and a year in, a year plus, a year and a half into this, he's still maintaining that same position. That's crazy. And has also decided, I was a fan, but I'm not a sheep. Dog, if you're pro-Israel 17 months into Israel's genocide, you are less than a sheep. Even a sheep would have recognized that they're being pushed to the slaughter by this point, you know? You're beyond a sheep, big dog. You're like a sea cucumber, you know? That's awesome. 17 months in, is still like, you know, Israel's doing the right thing. It is interesting to street streamers come out the bat for him hard when their audiences hate Adin. Like Rage has been at the forefront of him getting unbanned, but YRG itself hates Adin. Maybe it's misplaced loyalty or just a desire for more clout. No, it's not a desire for clout. I mean, I think a lot of streamers just genuinely like Adin Ross. Like streamers are, sometimes streamers are different behind closed doors. I'm sure he's like very nice. I mean, he was very kind when I hung out with him, but that was before he became this like right-wing demon. But I'm sure that that attitude hasn't changed. But yeah, of course the fan bases don't like him because they see only his output. It's not right, but it's deserved. Yeah. It's not right, but it's deserved. Palestinians deserve a genocide. I'm a libertarian, by the way. No, dog. You need to reevaluate your worldview in its entirety, okay? You freak. The things he said and done aren't deal breakers for his friends. I mean, I think there's also an element of fear there too. There's an element of fear because, like, what you think most streamers don't know what Adin Ross is up to, or what his community did for years and years. They know. Adin himself is aware of this. Adin himself is literally aware of this, where he was like, "That's why I'm deleting my Twitter comms. I'm deleting my Twitter comms because my Twitter comms are just like constantly doxing people, and I know that it's like me over because other streamers are afraid of my community." That's it. They're so insanely insane. Like, it's not just trolling. It's just like straight up Nazi shit. I think some streamers don't consider it to be a deal breaker. Other streamers are genuinely afraid of the backlash. Because, I mean, look at this. Like, think about it. I say this stuff. Instantly, there's chatters in here being like, "Nice house, by the way. You know, your house looks really nice." Why do you think they're saying that? Where do you think that comes from? What do you think that implies? Immediately, they just have one button, which is I'm doxing you and I'm swatting you. That's the one button. The one button these have, you know? Understandably, other streamers don't want that smoke at all. This is not just about his fans, though. That was the cope everyone had. He got banned for bad chat when the reality is he's openly called for violence against multiple marginalized communities. Why do we have to whitewash this shit? No, I'm not. I'm not doing that at all. What is this? Adin ban also opens up conversations like this. Oh, I'm sure they'll say, why isn't Destiny unbanned? Yeah, exactly. Asmongold is curious to see what will happen with Destiny after the Adin Ross on ban. Responds to Shadow, who brings up Destiny's pending court case. No universe where Adin Ross didn't do something worse than Destiny in America, innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, of course. Dude, just unban everybody, you know? YOLO.
Right now, I'm really curious to see if they're going to unban Destiny. I am.
I'm telling you, all these hate me more than anything else. They certainly hate me more than they hate each other. One must ask the question, why? Is it because I am the evil villain that they have presented in their communities? Or maybe is it because I actually do call people out and have a relatively large community because I do care about these things? There's no one more dangerous than someone who actually cares about the values that they espouse. Yeah, innocent until proven guilty is so funny because, like, Destiny admitted that he distributed this person's sexual material without her consent. So I don't know what you mean innocent until proven guilty in that regard. But he did do that. I don't know if you're, like, speculating on whether Adin has done that or worse than that, but...
Because if they unbanned...
You're so obsessed with what people think about you that you will talk about people hating you for minutes on end just to fill time. God damn, is the worst part of your stream. We're currently talking about a bunch of, like a pretty prominent figure being unbanned.
There is no universe where Adin Ross didn't do something worse than Destiny. Literally no observable universe in which Destiny was worse than...
I think it's very similar in terms of the toxicity, in terms of the overall harm to like random content creators in general. Yes, their operational methods are pretty similar. It's not incorrect. Yeah, doxing, swatting, you know, going after content creators, going after people that are in the trust and safety side of things. Like Destiny, I would go so far as to say is like gone above and beyond, even beyond what Adin Ross has done. Adin Ross, as far as I know, has not tried to like dox people that work at Twitch directly. Having said that, on the politics front, yes, of course, Adin Ross has significantly worse statements than even Destiny.
Adin Ross. We'll see what happens. Yep, we'll see what happens. Not with a pending court case. I think that Twitch might not unban him for that reason. They're concerned that basically, and this is the issue.
No, dude, I don't think that's the reason. I think it's beyond that. I think the big difference here is that like the Your Rage and XQCs and the Kais and Ass of the world were not actively petitioning to unban Destiny in the way that they were with Adin Ross. There's also an environment of normalizing Adin Ross's politics right now that's happening all around. Asmongold himself reflects maybe not to the same overt degree of like having Nick Fuentes on his stream or whatever, but like there's certainly a association with right-wing politics that is no longer seen as like harmful or toxic. That's, I think, where this is coming from. I mean, the dude interviewed the president, you know? What is this guy still talking about? What? If your grandmother, what are you? Yeah, it does not matter. Okay, dude, you must be joking. DGG is 100 times worse human being than Adin. No, Adin's community and Destiny's community do the exact same shit. That's why they're so harmful. Adin, on the other hand, in terms of politics, is also incredibly right-wing. Destiny is like pro-genocide and very right-wing on a lot of issues, but they both of these communities do very similar things. In terms of individual politics, however, like I can't believe I'm saying this, but one is overtly collaborating with neo-Nazis. The other one at least like seemingly debates them, you know, even though behind the scenes it seems that he's doing a lot more than just debate them. He's getting real cozy with them. But at least in terms of their output, one is like far more open about aligning with like Holocaust revisionism and neo-Nazis in general. I mean, both are still incredibly toxic and engage in the same exact actions in terms of doxing, swatting, brigading, and making this space a significantly, take in his dick out of your mouth, you bum. You're just sad that your daddy's back. This is what I mean. Dude's not even live yet, and his delusional fanboys are already in here. Like, you know what I mean? It's fine. It is what it is. I mean, they never really went away. They just like kind of fizzled into other communities overall. And I get this. I get this from Asmongold's fan base as well, so it's all good. Asmongold's pretty large, so it is what it is. But yeah, I guess maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, the silver lining of this is that he won't be as toxic and as awful, because he will most likely get banned again. You know, did Twitch state why they unbanned him? I don't know. I have no idea what they were doing.
Yes, I'm gonna just talk about it real quick, bro. Aiden got unbanned, okay? And my the face comms is going crazy right now, bro. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
Do you think he deserves a chance to change? Yes, dude. Everybody deserves a chance to change. It's just a matter of like if it's real or not. You know what I mean? Why the would I care if he was like a positive force? If he was like, hey man, as a Jewish guy, I literally thought, the neo-Nazi shit is not cool, and it's actually kind of up that I align myself with these dudes who are, overt anti-Semites and saying a whole bunch of nonsense, right? And I've learned my lesson. I'm just gonna do like fun content. I don't give a fuck if he does that. Great, awesome. I would love that. My fear is that he has not changed. And he won't, as a matter of fact. He collabed with like Andrew Tate last week. All around the world, we're looking at like why the youth are so right wing, and then we just normalize this kind of behavior. It sucks. It sucks. But I do want him to change. I do want him to be a positive force, 100%. Why the wouldn't I? It's infinitely easier. So you can say whatever you want, but he can't. Who are you to filter what's okay and what isn't? First of all, I can't say whatever I want. I get banned for even people misunderstanding what the I'm saying on a regular basis. And secondly, bro hates Andrew. That's comedy. Dog, Andrew Tate has already a second court case opening up against him in California, because after he came to the United States of America, he still pulled up the same shit, it seems, that he was doing that initially landed him in Free Palestine. This dude is hitting me with a like triple punch. Like I'm so, you can say Free Palestine without being like, I think the greatest authority on this is a sex trafficker, like who's brutalizing women. Ay, ay, ay.
And I just want to say this, bro. Okay, listen. Oh wait, the comms have been going. All right. Hashtag fence sitter, bro. I'm not gonna fence it. I'm gonna say exactly my opinion, bro. And Davis, you keep getting on my dick, bro. Me personally, me and Aiden never had a problem, bro. Me and his comm though, it's still AR loyals. They're weird, bro. I'm not gonna lie, they're still weird to me.
Yeah, Aiden's fan base is so insanely toxic, and everybody knows it. By the way, everybody knows it. Make no mistake. From your rage to all the phase boys, like every single person knows this shit, okay, through and through. That's the reason why he had to delete his Twitter comms in general, to say like, I'm turning over a new leaf. But I think a lot of people don't understand that like he developed this community off of the shit he was saying and doing. It's not like these guys randomly encountered him and were like, this is awesome. Like they just straight up will post Groiper slop everywhere. Like everywhere, instantly. How in the hell he has a fan base? You got to be brainless. Yes, dude. There's a lot of people who are. And no, I don't think that XQC is avoiding Adin Ross. I think XQC wanted him to be unbanned. They said that over and over again. What are you talking about?
But he did a good thing and deleted his comment, bro. So because I did get doxxed by the AR loyals, bro. Pizzas was sent to my house for however long, you know what I mean? But me and Aiden personally, I had no problem with Aiden ever, bro. So stop painting the narrative that we are beefing, bro. That's not a real thing. Okay? So chill out with the Aidens, all right? I've always, as y'all know,
I feel like it started as a bit, then ran a bit far too long, and now he actually believes it. Dude, if you expect any content creator to come out and actively say what I'm saying right now, you're delusional. At most, the expectation will be silence, okay? That's it. Nobody wants that smoke. They don't. They don't want it. They're worried about getting dominated. That's it. I don't think you guys understand. You guys are like, I'm thinking about the damage overall of this sort of behavior getting normalized and shit, but like there's a reason why people don't talk about Destiny either, because people understandably don't want random psychos to ruin their lives online. That's it. These guys, they put crosshairs on a person and will use their audience through and through to individually ruin their lives. They'll be in here all day, every day, waiting for a clippable moment, post it on a million different blue check mark accounts on Twitter, pump that shit into oblivion, ether people that way. It's just like a relatively sophisticated propaganda operation. That's it. And these guys are rabid. They're anonymous. It doesn't matter. Most people don't want the smoke. And even if people gently say something along the lines of like, I hope he's reformed, people will still go after them aggressively.
But I do think it's like Twitch permanently banning people is always bad. You know what I mean? Even if you don't like a person, it's always bad, you know, as long as you can hopefully grow from it and change, that's what's better. Now, I do say that loosely, but like, you know, then there's streamers like Johnny Somali that exist, and, you know, let's be real, let's keep him far the away from Twitch.
If their livelihoods didn't depend on it, more would probably speak out. No, it's not even clout. It's just their, you know, it's their safety.
Please, for the love of God, like, you know, that's holy dude. Let's keep him far away.
It's safety. What white supremacist stuff? Oh, some hostility I'm hearing. Hot topic employee opinion. This ain't about getting unbanned. It's about what he does now. And like Cinna said, if he slips back in the old pattern switch, better have the spine to shut it down. Accountability doesn't end when the ban does. Cinna in this moment. Yeah. Twitch streaming ain't a human right, in my opinion. It's not. Look, I'm of two minds on this, obviously, because like, look, I can't be advocating for heavy-handed censorship, at least in this time and in this place, okay? Because that is quite literally what virtually all of these content creators have demanded from Twitch. Constantly being like, look at the inherent hypocrisy and, you know, keeping Adin banned, but then keeping Hasan unbanned. Like, that's literally what Sneeko is saying. Think about that. Everybody constantly talks about the hypocrisy. Why is it hypocritical? Because I have a position on you know, political issues that they can manipulate into being far more radical. When I say, like, I don't think apartheid is appropriate, you know what I mean? I've always maintained a policy of not going after individual content creators or like unleashing my audience upon them. Although this is a sizable community, and yet every step of the way, from the likes of Adin Ross and Sneeko and even the likes of Ethan Klein, for example, or Destiny, these guys have never stopped doing that. They just very openly were like, this guy sucks, go after him aggressively, and sometimes even openly say that they want to, you know, brigade other content creators. It is what it is. I will still maintain my principles regardless, but, you know, I don't see anything beneficial from this unbanning happening. I think that it'll just like make Twitch an even more right-wing, more toxic area. I do hope, having said all that, I do hope that Adin has, I guess, learned some lessons, and we'll see, I don't know, the direction that Speed has taken, right? That's why I like Speed so much, because I Show Speed could have turned out exactly like Adin. They are friends, and they were friends, and and he did do a lot of like crazy shit when he was like 17, 16, right? But look at where he is now. Okay, look at where Kai is now. Same shit with Kai. He could have been an incredibly toxic content creator as well. He didn't. And then look at the success that they have seen as a consequence of not doing that. And it's not just about like you know, being inauthentic or whatever, because I don't think it's necessarily inauthentic to try to create a environment and a space that is like otherwise hospitable to every single person. That's it. Stop denying reality. That change it, bro. What the I'm not saying that I think that that is possible. I'm just saying that is my hope. Okay? Please understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. A lot of you in this echo chamber hug box have developed certain opinions where you think that the environment online, not in the real world, but the environment online is infinitely, you assume that the environment is not as right-wing as it actually is. You're delusional. Wake up. Okay? Wake the up. Wake the up. You're asleep, dude. You're oblivious. You're so locked in on the day-to-day awfulness of the Trump administration, but you are so delusional about like how infested right-wing thinking is, especially online. You're wrong about that? Yeah, totally. I am. Yeah, it's not even censorship when these streamers actively threaten others in the space. It's like firing an employee of a company that actively harasses others in the workplace. Warranted. I agree. That's the way I see it as well. Yeah, you're saying Adin did a lot of bad stuff and he's toxic, but he had the president on a stream, and I'm pretty sure his team knew about Adin's past before Trump went on a stream. Exactly. That is what I'm saying. When you have the president on your stream, none of this shit matters. All this shit is normal now. Adin Ross calls up Nazi Nick Fuentes on Kick to ask about Day of Hate, a planned holiday to hate on Jews, and asks if he's planning on celebrating. I mean, this is like nothing.